knowledge of technology, knowledge of what we're doing actually in our day-to-day basis, sometimes flunk because they were too dependent on live shows. And it's, as I said earlier, you have the option of creating a crew, joining a crew, using your name to uplift the name of the crew, and then getting more, and vice versa. Both parties get a benefit from it. It's temporary. You set it off so there's no drama down the road, and there you're good to go. So it's really hard, and I've been exploring like elsewhere, and many studios they're still using face shields in the studios, but no gloves. So thanks for nothing there, and it's a really hard time, and especially for up and coming artists. So it is a time in which they have to rethink themselves, and throughout merchandise, how do I sell merchandise? Well, you have to create content. You have to set the structure for a narrative. What are your beliefs? What do you believe in? That's what you're gonna translate into this brand that you're gonna create around this or that music project that you're doing. So let's say, for example, you are, you're against people chopping down the trees or something like that. Then you put it like no chopping trees, and you try to create a symbol around that and put it into your name so that you could create merch. This is a time in which we have to be really inventive, and even though it could be like this hard project, it needs to be sell. So now this kills this puritan vibe of doing things that I'm gonna get through with my music and the message through the music. No. Now you have to establish a narrative in which throughout a merchandise scheme you can get people drawn so they know that you do the most awesome music in the world. And that's how you have to work with that in this time. So, as I was saying, you have to create the narrative. You have to create a story. I remember in the 90s there was, I think if you have heard this band, Dream Theater, they made an album which was really intriguing because it was Metropolis Part 2 Scenes of a Memory. And the whole album was like this huge play, and it was really awesome. It was really awesome because you have a different side, and they were twisting the stories and everything. So you have to create that with merchandise. You can there are things that you have to see how your budget is and what things that you can create. How about if you can create something that is friendly to the environment, stuff like that. Tell a story, draw people to you, and then set up some sort of a donation scheme. Because even though eventually things are set up to become, and I point this with the 2 points, slightly to normal, right? So as soon as things get back to normal, the thing is that we are under the danger that in a couple of years we could be seeing this to happen again. So the thing is that next time it happens, we should be ready. This is like first time that in this side of the planet we experience this sort of lockdown rules which do not let live events from happening. And it is, once again, for your safety. I'm not saying that is wrong, right? Because we got a pandemic. That is something that is real and something that is really scary. And I'm really proud of on how the show business has kind of stepped up. Many artists that they have to give performances. What Bad Bunny did is an example that should be followed by many artists. Go to your to your home area where your family is. Like, go somewhere familiar, give a kind of guerrilla performance like this, in which you do not announce nothing except to the authorities that they will let you do the event. So it is special. It is safe. So we have to accustom to this, because what's it gonna be like, this new normal? It's something that most of us are thinking right now. How is gonna be this new normal? How is it gonna be that I cannot pack a place, even though I could be good at promotions? I could be good. This is a venue that could hold up like 400 people, but we can barely get 75. We will be going on a slow step back, and it is really uncomfortable. It does not allow enough cash flow, for example, for a business owner to get and pay for live entertainment, and it's going to be a real issue. It used to be like their cry for help always, oh, business not doing so good, but now business is actually not doing good, because it's the government itself is going to be enforcing the fact that it's not get like into 100% capacity, to try to keep it in a 25% capacity. I think that could be happening around this Christmas, but as everything flows, let's just say around March or April of 2021 of next year, it is when we're going to be closing into 100%, perhaps having first concerts in the summer. Who knows? But the thing is that we have to take note on everything that we're doing right now, because this is live, and we had to get set to this, And it's funny, because recently I have been curious on all aspects of the entertainment business, and I said, okay, so television can survive through television, because it's not like the antennas are down, or it's not like you're gonna get COVID-19 for 5 years, something like that. So television is doing fine. So it's like less personnel, more safety measures, blah blah blah. We put someone and then we get them out. If it is a studio, they have a panel. We put facials on their faces, and we use the bullet. I don't know if they're cleaning the bullets, the bullet microphones, the one that they put you on your clothes, but obviously I think they should. But well, the thing is that I see the television, and for example, movies can still survive through streaming services. For example, like Netflix, like Amazon Prime. You got series, you got stuff. So everything that you were consuming on, let's say, for example, the movies, when you went to the movies, to a movie theater, you can do it at home, and you have been willing to do this for a while now. So I said, well, television and film are not so bad. They have the platforms. All they have to do is clean here, clean there, less personnel, and adapt. So we moved to another ventures. Music production does not stop, because studios can take measures, and they don't have to take like loads and loads and loads of people in. So I say, so music business is hurting on the life end of the spectrum. If an artist is really business savvy and has everything under right control, these artists will technically live off the royalties that come out of their songs. So if their Spotify is not paying them enough, iTunes have been in a so-so level. They have digital stores. They have what I was mentioning earlier, work merchandise through the years. So they have the huge big artists. So we are now looking at the entire spectrum. They have adapted. Sports have adapted. They are working. They are functional. And now we're moving. They're using the DOM systems. So when you look at the entertainment business as a whole, what you see is that most areas are covered. So I said, okay, tickets in the sports world, what they do is they fed off a piece. Musicians, it depends. If you're an up and coming artist, you depend solely on it. And it's really sad that we have a health crisis and the most affected are the struggling artists. But it's how things work. Sadly, shouldn't be. But the thing is that if you're a well-established artist and you have the label and you have every personnel working at publishing and other stuff, then you're mostly set to go. You're mostly set that everything is going to be okay. So in the case of artists in that kind of level, it's like it's not also important if live events are going on. So I said, well, what part of the industry could be hurting the most in the fact that we do not have the ability of going live? And recently we were chatting and having a conversation with my partner Lourdes, and we were speaking about Vegas, and we decided that even though in the case of Puerto Rico some of the cases are kind of spiking up, we take the many of the measures, and we decided that that if we have the opportunity and we can do it, so we can do it. So I've seen that that's the first thing that I started checking. How are they handling the pandemic? How they have the safety measures? Because you have to know the case of Vegas. There's artists that solely depend on live shows. Let's say, for example, the Blue Man Group, or great example, Chris Angel. There's a crew and a staff that cannot do this work remotely. At least none of the hotel has at least find a way to uncover this. And it's actually going little by little. Actually, the most of the hotels of the Strip are working around a 75, 77, 76, around that number. So we're talking about percent of fully functioning. For example, Planet Hollywood still closed, but they recently announced that they will be opening on October 8th. So you have many of the hotels that are open, but for example, buffets, many of the buffets are closed. And there's something because there's a safety measure. You have people coming in and out who are manhandling food, and there's people behind them in the line who are gonna get. For example, somebody could have taken the virus from touching the desk or some area of other hotel, and then he touched the meat that precisely you want to get, but dropped that meat and then got the other. Then you get that meat because you didn't look that he put it back. You put it in your mouth. Boom! You have COVID-19. So that's quite one of the most believable reasons I believe most of the buffets are not operating in Las Vegas right now. So we're gonna give a complete update of our trip because it's, I think, to me personally, I think it's perhaps the capital of entertainment in the world, the live capital of entertainment in the entire planet. It's Las Vegas, and there's a lot of people who are out of jobs, but do we have this situation and see in firsthand how it's being handled. So we're gonna give you updates. I don't know if I do a podcast from there, so because it's mostly kind of a vacation, besides reflection, we're gonna observe and see how everything's doing, and especially with the three that cannabis is legal in Las Vegas. So that's something else that we're going to be experimenting. In the case of Puerto Rico, many of you, we have medical access. You have to get a medical card. I have my medical card. But the fact of having seeing a recreational market is really mind-blowing for me because I have been studying the subject for so many years now. So many documentaries that I have on the subject how Colorado works, updates on news on how Colorado works, how some counties accept it, how some counties don't. The case how California also works, how's the business models, and something is like seeing videos on YouTube and seeing